Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, I'm going to talk about something that I've kind of like talked about before, but I just watched a video from Donnie B all day, and he was talking about cold steel, and it's a good video because he had a he's had an issue with cold steel, and it involves quality. And a lot of us were afraid when GSM bought out Cold Steel that things would change, especially when Lynn Thompson, he was like, anytime you've got like a kind of a flamboyant, charismatic kind of a leader of a company, he's kind of like the general, the main figurehead of the company and everything. And when he goes, for whatever reason, wants to retire, whatever, and nobody takes his place, there's a void there. There's a gap. But watch that video, because what happened was Cold Steel's come out with the Mayhem, and I've never been willing to spend that much money on a folding knife. I think it's like almost $350 or something for it. And Donnie threw one, and the tip bent. And he says it's because it doesn't have any heat treat. My thought is that even if it did have a heat treat, it was heat treated improperly for that particular thing, or the geometry of the knife is wrong. Maybe the handle is heavy and the tip is thin, and it's not designed for throwing. But that doesn't excuse the part about heat treat, and that's an insidious thing that companies can do. They can sit there and build what looks like a perfect knife. This is not an example. I'll use the Cold Steel one. Even though this one's a good one also. I've thrown this one and the tip doesn't bend because it's a Tonto. It's designed for tip strength. Not so much penetration. It can penetrate because the tip is strong and be reused again, but I think you'll find a spear point or a drop point or whatever will penetrate deeper with the same amount of force and everything applied, just because of the geometry, the way it is. Yeah, this is more likely to bend. But getting back to quality, all right, and perception of quality. I've been in a couple of very large corporations where they take quality seriously. If you know anything about names and brands, you'll know Intel Corporation puts a lot in their name and their brand and everything for computer chips and stuff like that. So they know a little bit about that. They've studied it, and they have some. When they're training their people, they also train them about quality. Harris Corporation is another one. It's a little bit lesser known, but it does military contracts and stuff like that. And they also ISO 9000 certified kind of companies, that have to pass certain standards, quality standards, to get things done. And one of the things they're talking about is perception of quality. They talk about like the name. You associate it with quality. Why do you associate it with quality? Well, because of its reputation. What kind of reputation does it have? It has to have a good reputation. You can't just like come up with some no-name company that doesn't have a reputation at all and just fabricate one out of. You have to build it. You have to build over a period of time, repeated situations. One of the ways you can lose people in companies is your customer service. Now I'll give an example that doesn't have anything to do with well, it does have something to do with Cold Steel, actually. I bought the Cold Steel Ranch Boss 2 or something like that. I'd go get it. It's a good knife and everything, but it was supposed to come with a leather sheath, and the main reason I was getting the knife, if you hear some banging in the background, this is right before 4th of July in the United States. We celebrate that. and you'll hear fireworks and stuff like that. Some official and unofficial. But it was supposed to come with a leather sheath. When I ordered it from Smoky Mountain Knife Works, a reputable company, has a good reputation, with their customer service, all this other stuff. So I thought I was very well covered. When I got the package, it showed on the very back of the package a leather sheath that it's supposed to come with. So I bought a lot of knives, mostly rough riders and stuff like that from Smoky. I've never had to return one. I never had to deal with customer service before. But this was one. When I got the knife, it was loose in the box. Excuse me. Just as a side note, I think I may have contracted finally Rona, and so I'm going through what possibly is that. But I'm not worried. It's just that my nose runs and I got a sore throat sometimes. But getting back to quality control. As a side note, before we get into that story about me not getting my leather sheath, also, if that cold steel was heat treated, but heat treated too high of a Rockwell hardness, when he threw the knife and it stuck in that stump, if it was Rockwell too high, instead of the tip bending, it would have snapped. It would have broken. So, either way, the answer isn't always that it's not heat treated. I mean, it's very likely that's just a process they could have skipped. It was done improperly. Is a more accurate way to put it. Something was done improperly. Now maybe it's designed. Maybe they've designed. I don't know about the mayhem. I don't know the whole story on that one. But I do know, and in Donnie B's perception and everything else, to him, cold steel sucks. And it's understandable because he tried to rectify his problem by going through customer service, and they gave him a big runaround. And that's another strike. So that's what happened with me on the Cold Steel Ranch Boss, and indirectly with Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Is because I called customer service, and I got a hold of a human being. It sounded like American. Was at the company. It wasn't you're out and you're not redirected to Pakistan or India or whoever happened to be the farm for quality control that day. It was a real person, there and everything. I don't remember her name, but I told her what happened, and she said, "Oh, they don't come with, they don't even come with a sheath." And I said, "Yes, they do. It shows it right here on the box." I said, "It even lists it on your website that it comes with a sheath." I took a screenshot of it and everything, and she said, "Oh, well, let me just wait a minute. Let me check that." And so what she did is she went onto the floor, walked out to where they had all those ones, and they only had a few on display, and none of them had a sheath with it. And so she came back and she told me, "No, they don't have a sheath. None of them on the floor have a sheath." And I'm like, "Look, they do, and your website and all this other stuff." And she said, "Well, you can just send it back for a refund." And that's not the issue. That's not the problem. You have told me you're selling me, let's say, a car with 4 tires, and I get it, and all the tires are gone, and you say, "Well, it's a car." Yeah, but the tires are missing. Well, we didn't say we were going to sell tires. Yes, you did. You showed me a picture of it. There's 4 tires right there. Well, why are they gone? Oh, that's extra, or they don't do that anymore, or they just come like that. What it is you've got a customer service person who really doesn't want to do their job. Because if you think about it, it's a thankless job, man. You hear people complain every day. That's your job. If you're working, you're guaranteed you're going to have somebody complaining about something. And some of them are going to be valid, and some, after a while, you're going to start thinking some of them are petty. You can't, as a customer service, you can't get emotionally involved with that. You just have to follow what company policies are and realize it's not your money. You're not. If they say they're going to guarantee it or they're going to do it, then you should have no problem doing your job, making the customer happy and making it good. Send them another knife or refund the money. I mean, that's usually all it takes right there. You either tell them, hey, send it back, we'll send you another one. If it does it again, send it back and we'll give you your money back. Because I guess they're all going to start, they all been like that. In the meantime, they might get some guy in engineering or whatever, research, to do that. But what Donnie is saying is that they don't care. It's been sold. It's just another group of companies that they own, and Cold Steel still makes the stuff, but they can't communicate to the people that deal with the warranty anymore. They're not even in charge of the warranty anymore. And well, you're doomed there, because even if you do have a good knife, you know that if your situation is going to be just like his, good luck getting any resolution out of it. So that's why when I look at a knife, like Essie, and a lot of people say, oh, that's too much money for a knife, I can get a Chinese knockoff for this and then everything. If you have good experience with their customer service with that Chinese company or whatever, and they do good on it, then fine. But it doesn't even have to be Chinese. It can be an American company, I think the Kobun is made in China. No, Taiwan. See, this one's still Taiwan. But see, even though this is not made in China and Cold Steel, American company, everything, there's differences between companies. Some people just have a brand that they just live off the name. At one time they had glory, but no longer, and they're just living off of it. And other ones are, what you would think, oh man, cheap Chinese junk. Hey, if you have a problem with it, it's built by hand, back for life, and they stand up to it. You may not get that exact knife if they're not making it anymore, but which would you rather have? Somebody that listens to you in customer service and says, hey, we'll make it good, we'll refund your money, we'll give you another one, whatever we can do. That's the most we can do, we can't do anything more. Or, well, what did you do? We'll get back with you, give you a big runaround. You're not going to want to spend your money on that particular company. I mean, that's just part of it, that's just human nature. If you go up to your favorite grocery store and you buy a gallon of milk, and you get back home, you're leaving it in the hot car for, secondary stops all over the place. I mean, it's like 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes at most. You get home, you open it up, you pour it out, and it's sour. You go back and get a refund to the store, and they give you a big runaround. And the reason why, a lot of times, like I said, the customer service job is like, oh man, you probably, bought that somewhere else. Where's your receipt? Well, I bought it right here, It's just like 5 minutes ago. Just look in your computer. You don't have your receipt, I can't deal with you. Next, and you're like, what? No, you're going to deal with me right now. There ain't no next, You sold me some sour milk. I want a refund. Let me, then you try to pull, I want to see your manager trick. And good luck on that a lot of times. Sometimes that's just a game that they play, Like, I am the manager. I happen to have been promoted today. But, yeah. That's why when I buy a knife, if the company's got a no questions asked guarantee, like if you throw this knife or you do whatever to it and you break it, they're going to refund it. They don't ask for a receipt and everything. Man, whenever I buy an Essie knife, I know, other than theft or loss, this knife is gonna withstand whatever I happen to want to do with it. If I want to pry open a car door because that's all I got with me and it's on fire and somebody's, it's a wreck, and then you got to get them out, and you can't wait for EMS, but you might be able to jimmy that door open and get them out. You're probably better breaking the glass and try to pull them through that way. But if this thing breaks, not only will they replace it, they probably be happy to make a story about it and stuff. Our knife was used in a rescue or something. You know, companies, good companies that know about quality and everything else, know that your name, it's just like in the Old West and everything. Your name, your word was your bond, basically, your guarantee with other people. If you can't be trusted with your words, anybody can say anything. They can say, oh, well, we'll always back our product. We always give 100% great customer service. And they lie. If someone lies, you cannot trust them. Well, that's all it is to it. And then, a lot of different people lie and everything, but just look at what they're doing. Their actions speak louder than their words. That's one of these things is true. Anybody can say anything. My knife is worth paying $750 because of blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't do any of those things. And when you try to get a refund, say goodbye to your $700. The only way you're going to be able to get anything out of that is maybe a lawsuit, and that costs a lot of money. And they already know that, So, or a class action suit. You're not getting that anytime quick. So basically, buyer beware is all I got to say on a lot of stuff. And this is no jab, or anything at Donnie B. Anybody that thinks that, I don't necessarily disagree with him on the way he feels, but I'm not going to spend $350 on a folding knife, so I can understand that, And I've had a cold steel SRKC chip. I've still got it. It chipped, but it hit concrete. I wasn't doing it intentionally, but yeah, I was throwing the knife and it hit concrete and it chipped. I didn't get a replacement. I look at that because that's inexpensive. It's an inexpensive knife. It's like $35 compared to like $350. So there's 10 times difference in what goes on. If I would have tried to send that back to Cold Steel, they would probably say that, I don't know, that was misused. I don't know what their warranty is on a lot of these things. Even for Amazon, for me to return something, I got to go to now that I got my little scooter, I can probably find one in the city. I think they've got one. A UPS. You can't go to United States Postal Service and return an Amazon product. You have to go to a UPS drop-off, ship-off, and then it's supposedly easy, so maybe that's different now that I got mobility. But it's a hassle. It's a hassle. I know with an Essie, if I break it, like a lot of people were afraid of, S35E, and it's not as tough as 1095, That's true. You can always get two. You can get one for S35N and one 1095, one on one hip and one on the other, and you got yourself covered. I mainly got this because of the stainless properties, and I was not worried about the tip breaking. Not whatsoever. Not even in the least. Because I know their guarantee, and I know the company stands behind it. And it's not just hyperbole, There are actual facts. There are evidence to back that up, that happens. It's not just blowing in the wind. Look how great I am type of stuff. I'm a great company. You've never heard of me before, but I'm great, I tell you. So yeah. Yeah, it's sad. Anytime a company is bought out, like Cold Steel, they try, sometimes, if it was bought out by another knife enthusiast, that really was passionate about it and said, I want to take over, like maybe it was his son or something. I don't even know if he has children. I don't know that well, but, maybe his son said, Dad, I want to take over, and he had the same passion. It's kind of like a sequel or rerun, It may be good and it may be lousy. And if you don't even have that, you don't even have somebody stepping in and taking it. I mean, they tried internally, they still have, I guess, Stickman and Xena Warrior Princess or whatever she is, No offense to her, it just wasn't the same as what, Glenn's passion was there. And he's still, I'm not saying he's perfect or anything, but he was entertaining, and he was definitely, you could tell he was definitely behind his product, you know. And that alone makes you a lot of times, you know, think that, hey, I've got a connection with this guy. He feels, you know, passionate about blades, instead of, we can make a profit off this company. We can live off the name, and we can sell something. We can cheapen the materials, and we can change the locations, and heat treat. Who needs that? You know, well, it takes too much time. Look at how much electricity we're wasting, you know, and fuel and everything to heat that metal up when we don't have to. And if you've got unscrupulous people running that, or you have no standards, then that can happen. And the only way you're going to find out is through experience and use. You know, if it's a wallflower and you never use it and everything, then you may never know. But like I said, the first time you do something out of the ordinary with it, like drop it, whoops, you know, and it lands on its tip, and the tip bends, and you go, wow, that, if you think that should have happened in your mind, and you go to customer service and you get a runaround, what are you going to think about the company? You know what happened with me with Smokey? That may have been a long time ago and everything. It took me a long time before I ever ordered anything from Smokey again, because I never got the leather sheath. I never sent it back. I got replacement sheaths to take it over, but it's just the principle of the thing. It's just the way I was treated, you know. Like I'm the one. They sent me something that was probably a return. You could tell the knife was not brand new. It wasn't even in the plastic, you know. It was flopping around in the box in there. The box wasn't even sealed. Like I said, it's just wrong when something like that happens. You basically got, I don't know, the sheath was worth at least like $5-10, you know, of the price. So you're getting less. And when you try to get any satisfaction out of it, you get a runaround. So after that, you know, it's like, you know what? Buyer beware, live and learn, you know. I can go to other companies that treat me better, and a lot of times sell it cheaper. So, you know, no diss to SMKW. I know that person's probably no longer works there, hadn't worked in a long time, and things are different and all that. And Cold Steel, if you like them, go ahead and buy them. If you don't like them, or if you think you're going to have an issue with them, then that's up to you. I'm not telling you what to do. You can buy whatever you want, and that's fine. But just remember, if you have any issue with the knife, let people know if you can, either in a comment or making your own video and everything. Let people know when you have bad customer service, and also let them know when you have good customer service. Like I said, I rarely deal with customer service, because if I have an issue with the knife, I try to fix it myself. If I made it an error in judgment, I just own up to it and say, you know, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have spent that much money on that knife, because it wasn't worth it. But you know, everybody's an individual. They can do what they want. You know, I don't have to spend a lot of money on a knife to be happy with it. I bet this one's going to be fine if I throw it, but I don't want to throw it, because even though it's an old style lock and everything like that, I don't like throwing folders into wood, hard objects and stuff like that, because to me that's knife abuse. You know, to me that's abusing your knife. And if the knife fails for whatever reason, like if I throw this in the wood and then the tip bends, and maybe it gets blade play and everything. In my case, I would say that's not the knife's fault, because that's not what this thing is made for. Yeah, it's got a locking mechanism and everything, but that's more for safety and everything. This one I tried my own hand at bone burning, burn your bone, and I had fun with it, you know, because it's an inexpensive knife. And it's mostly for looks, but it makes a good steak knife, man. You can do some stuff with this thing. But A knife is a tool, and what are you doing with it? If you're throwing knives, you've got to expect, depending on the knife, that some of them, the tips are not going to survive. Some were not designed to withstand that. You could say I'm wrong. Like the Mayhem. If they show it doing all kind of mayhem, it should be able to withstand, just because of the name. I'm Captain Slaughter, Mr. Mayhem. You got to live up to your name. You got to live up to your hype. And if you can't, and you get an issue with quality service, customer service, and everything, for you it's over. And no more of them. Maybe they come out with something great later on, but they're going to have to prove it to me. I ain't buying their stuff anymore. For myself, I don't know about Cold Steel. They still have like the spike buoy that I like to get because I like it. And I'm not going to worry about customer service on a $25 knife. If the tip bends when it hits the ground, not the ground, hits the wood, then I've already got the spike buoy. I like it, but it doesn't stick as well, I bet, as the drop point or the buoy. It would probably stick easier and better, just from that design, from my thoughts. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Like I said, it's not a diss. It's not a diss to Donnie B. So y'all get in there. This is not a diss on those that like Cold Steel and everything, because I like them too. But I'm not happy with the way the situation is going, especially now that I heard about his situation with customer service, because I've had a situation myself with bad customer service, and it influenced you. It changes your mind. So anyways, happy 4th of July. By now it's 4th of July somewhere. Happy 4th of July, everybody. This is when America gained its independence, Independence Day. We're no longer a part of where I was born, England. Dual citizenship, man, that's a good one. British and American at the same time. Well, I'm more American than British because I grew up here. I was born of American parents. It's not like, even though in my lineage and everything, I have ancestors from England and I don't know where else, a lot of different places. So there you go. That's my little ramble on quality control and buyer beware, and another reason why I like SE knives. You can call me not necessarily a fanboy. I just like that someone says something and they stand behind it. That they're not lying to you when they say, you break it, we'll replace it, no questions asked. That's nice. I mean, we should enjoy that as long as we can. Like I said, because that's rare. I mean, that's pretty rare. When you get good customer service, same thing. Give Rough Rider his props too. You may get a junk knife from him, once in a while. Yeah, you may get this or that wrong with it, it's not perfectly aligned, or it's got a gap, or it actually has some issue, If you get a refund or replacement, hey, what were you expecting, man? There are companies that charge you 10, 15, 100 times as much and don't do as much. So, what are you going to be happier with? Somebody that lies or somebody that stands up to what they say? So, it's up to you. You believe what you want. Anyways, I wasted enough of your time. I talked way too long. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.